Remember the good old days? You unwrapped that sweet cellophane on that Pokemon Red or Blue version for the first time, and you were thrust into the amazing world of Pokemon. The kindly and wise Professor Oak told you that the grass outside of Palatown is dangerous, and leads you back to his lab, telling you to make a choice decision. Pick one of the 3 Pokeballs on the table. In a rush, you pick the first one you see, Bulbasaur. You and your new friend would share a host of adventures, but let's move on to the now. Perhaps your grass-type friend has a new calling in the world of competitive play. Will the Bulbasaur family reach for the sun, or will it wilt under the heat of battle? Let's better know the Bulbasaur family. Bulbasaur and its kin are a hardy selection of grass-type Pokemon, benefiting from the well-distributed stats given to starter Pokemon as a prerequisite. Its typing and stats help the player through the Red and Blue versions at a medium pace. Its strengths are beneficial to the player in the early Rock, Water, and Electric-type challenges, but can prove troublesome in the Psychic and Fire rounds. So, let's start at the beginning, shall we? With the bouncing baby Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur's stats are well-rounded at level 50, if a little low due to it not being fully evolved, with special attack and special defense being the highest, at 128 points, with 31 individual values, 252 effort values, and a beneficial nature, which means that you can't have both at peak numbers at once. Attack and defense are both slightly lower at 111 at their peaks, so Bulbasaur can go in both physical and special directions offensively. Speed is its lowest stat, peaking at a still manageable 106. Ivysaur's stats are distributed in the same manner, just with the stats roughly 15 to 20 points higher. Already, this brings up a few issues. Maxing speed seems like an idea, but it means that your offenses and defenses would both suffer, which might make taking a slim chance at moving first a bad idea. If you want the power and the speed, maybe you could try attaching a Quick Claw and making offense your main concern. We'll come back to this later, when we have an idea as to what Bulbasaur is capable of. Bulbasaur's move pool is severely limited, a common fate to fall on not fully evolved starters. Physically, it gets a few heavy hitters, such as the grass-type Seed Bomb, which will definitely hit hard, but in the upcoming Heart Gold and Soul Silver games, it gets the even more powerful Power Whip as an Egg move, which has 1.5 times the power of Seed Bomb, but with kind of an unreliable accuracy. So, you can ask yourself, do you want to hit hard consecutively, or do you want to slam the competition with a chance of a miss? It all depends on whether or not you think your Bulbasaur can take the hit, or personal preference. Besides that, Bulbasaur also gets Razor Leaf in the Grass-type area. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Razor Leaf, a 55 base power move, in competitive play? Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. Razor Leaf gets a 12.5% chance of a critical hit, as opposed to a normal move's 6.25%. Also, it can hit 2 opponents at once, which can be beneficial if you're trying to whittle away at your bulky foes, while trying to dig out a strategy with Bulbasaur's partner Pokemon. Its accuracy is a little sketchy, though, so it may not be something you'd consider, but still, that idea's out there. Other than grass moves, normal moves are Bulbasaur's only real other option, with moves such as Double Edge, Return, Skull Bash, and Facade in its arsenal. I don't recommend the latter two, since Bulbasaur might not last 2 turns, and doesn't like the status it takes to pull off Facade, especially since it can't be simply poisoned due to its typing immunity. Its only other options are to be burned or paralyzed, both of which are very risky. Since Bulbasaur doesn't get any poison-type stab in the physical area, let's move on to special. Bulbasaur gets a lot of special options, including some much-loved Poison Stab with the heavy-hitting, oft-poisoning Sludge Bomb. Other than that, it gets only Grass-type moves. Grass Knot for those heavy legendaries, Energy Ball for some concrete, accurate damage, Petal Dance if you like random targets being stuck in a move loop and confusion, Solar Beam if you think Bulbasaur won't get hit with the Fire-type move in the Sunny Day setup, and the ever-popular Leaf Storm as an egg move, which hits hard but decreases your special attack. This can be remedied with a White Herb, or you could use it as a last resort and drift toward the physical side after the stat drop. Of course, Hidden Power is always an option, if you're someone who's good at IV engineering. Bulbasaur is a neat little Pokemon, in the fact that it gets a boatload of support moves. Perhaps a more defensive Bulbasaur is the way you want to go. It gets Sunny Day, for Solar Beam or Synthesis, but in all honesty, there's too much of a chance that a Fire-type will move in on the opportunity to hit with a 1.5 multiplier. If you want to try this, wait until you have a Venusaur, and even then, I'd advise you to be careful. Otherwise, I suggest you try to switch into a Sunny Day that's already in play. Leech Seed is also a good option and can be partnered with Substitute or Big Root for maximum recovery, but maybe on Ivy or Venusaur, since it might be able to take more hits. Toxic is another idea, since bad poison is better than regular poison. However, watch out for Pokemon that abuse bad poison, with abilities like Guts or Quick Feet. Bulbasaur can get Light Screen by breeding with the Mareep family or the Chikorita family, which supports all team members if you're a team player. If you're not, you can always boost Bulbasaur's special defense with Amnesia, which can be bred from Slowpoke's family or Snorlax. Also from Slowpoke, Bulbasaur can get Curse, which can help with any of the physical moves I mentioned, as well as bulk him up a bit, in exchange for some speed. However, if defense and speed aren't issues with you, you can always use Swords Dance. Or if defense is a semi-issue with you, and you want to protect your team, you can use Charm, which has to be chain-bred on Oddish's family, Snorlax, or Shroomish's family, and then onto Bulbasaur. Worry Seed is another option if your opponent is an abuser of rest. Don't mix this with Sleep Powder, though. You'll regret it when Sleep Powder ends up not working. Bulbasaur and Ivysaur both have these options, but Ivysaur loses the ability to learn Seed-Bomb naturally. If you don't want to dig up any shards, I suggest you hang on to Bulbasaur until level 37, or breed Seed-Bomb onto it. So, you've decided that there aren't enough options here for you, and you evolve your Ivysaur into the mighty Venusaur. What do you gain? Well, its stats are still distributed in the same way, but each gets about a 20-point boost. Its speed, attack, and defense now peak at roughly 145 points. Its special attack and defense, however, now reach a hefty 167. As far as moves go, it gains the use of Earthquake, Outrage, and Giga Impact in the physical arena, Frenzy Plant and Hyper Beam in special, and Roar as far as support goes. I don't recommend the use of Frenzy Plant, Giga Impact, or Hyper Beam, only because of the recharge turn. Too much can happen in that turn. Unless you're absolutely sure that you'll take out your opponent, and absolutely sure that you won't get screwed over on that turn, try to avoid these moves. Earthquake provides great coverage. It hits most targets at least neutrally, and Venusaur's decent attack should put a dent in even bulkier foes. As far as Outrage goes, however, the Dragon-type novelty is all there, but the confusion, lack of target selection in double battles, and attack loop is dangerous, especially if someone switches in a Steel-type on you. Roar is always good as a sneaky little trick to hit enemies with a preset Stealth Rock or Spikes, or to get rid of any stat boosts they got. So, what have we learned? As far as this family goes, it can go in any direction it wants to. It's got good enough defenses and great moves to support, a decent attack and some neat physical attacking moves, and a hefty special attack, with some limited but hard-hitting special moves. As for what I suggest you do with them, I'd say you could do a complete physical set or even a mix set on Venusaur, some great support sets on all three members as well as special attack sets. If you're going special, I suggest you retain Earthquake on Venusaur. You don't have to go with a modest nature. In fact, a quiet nature would be better. I mean, does Venusaur look like it needs speed? With a quiet nature, you can put some effort values towards attack and support your Earthquake. Unfortunately, the family really has no options to counter its weaknesses: fire, flying, and psychic attacks. Steel types completely wall them as well, with type resistances to its grass and normal attacks, and complete immunity to poison attacks. If one of these guys shows up on your opponent's team, pack your physical attackers, especially those with flying or fire type moves. Status can be crippling, except for poison, since it can't be poisoned. Taunt is also a good idea, since it has a lot of support moves that can be removed with a wag of the finger. All in all, these are a great set of Pokemon, benefiting from good starter stats, but a limited move pool that cripples its ability to counter very common weaknesses. With a little creativity, though, they can make a good addition to a strategically engineered team. It will take a bit of work to make it fit in the competitive arena, though.